Hey everyone.
Hi. Welcome to London.
Welcome to London. Look at this beautiful area
We got
we're
flags, we got clocks, we got Ferris wheels, skyscrapers. I mean, old churches. It doesn't really get much better. What a backdrop.
in. Yeah, I know. First time in London, and it's been pretty awesome.
Well, I'm glad you're here. You're an important part of this community.
I mean, I'm trying, man.
Good, good. Well, why don't you give me an update? What was the panel about that you just did? Some of the things that stood out to me were around things that you discussed that nobody else is really talking about in these large-scale events that are happening, conversations in ecosystems like the Luxo ecosystem, et cetera. So why don't you give me a little update? How did you feel the panel went that you just did, and what's some things that stand out?
So honestly, the panel went great, but I feel as if we weren't on topic the whole time, because the topic was the future track, but it was mass adoption in marketplaces. Honestly, we didn't talk much about marketplaces. It was more just about mass adoption, because I feel as if mass adoption is something that has to be addressed one way or another, just because for people my age, which, you know, being 19, we live in a different world being 19 than anyone else that's older.
Right.
People don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. We have our own minds, we have our own thought processes, you know, it's F parents, F authority, you know what I mean? Like that's our thought process. And so basically, technology has to be made in a certain way that works with how our brains work. And what I mean by that is it has to be easy, it has to be hidden. No one has to actually know that they're using blockchain technology.
Right.
And that's exactly what Luxo and the ERC 725 standard does basically, is they hide everything on the back end, and then basically you have no idea that you're, you know, operating, living in a Web3 world per se.
Right.
And it all looks Web 2. The entire environment looks Web 2. Everything's just on the back end system.
Yeah.
And obviously you can still, you know, use the cloud, use whatever you want. But it just basically creates a Web 3 environment that looks and feels and operates the same as a Web 2 environment, if that makes sense.
Right. So let's talk about some things that stood out that you talked about. So number one, the 19-year-old perspective. Can you dive into that a bit deeper? Because a lot of people that are building this technology, the decision makers are usually not your age. The decision makers are usually a generation, maybe two generations
double
older
my
than
age,
you.
yeah.
Right. So can you be just take this moment and articulate clearly, what do the decision makers that are writing the checks and hiring the people and making the decision on product, what do they need to be thoughtful of about your generation? When it comes to mass adoption.
So when it comes to mass adoption, do you mean pertains to just blockchain technology as mass adoption?
Sure.
Is that what you mean?
You have freedom to answer however you want.
Okay, gotcha. I'll just answer pertaining to blockchain technology. We're not there yet for mass adoption. We are not. Like, honestly, my friends just are buying their first crypto that go to college, like, yesterday. You know what I mean? Like,
on a centralized wallet, like Coinbase.
On a centralized wallet on Coinbase, which they don't actually own their keys.
That's right.
It's owned for them. They have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's literally just because they see me on social media talking about it, yada, yada, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it needs to be created in a way, in an environment that doesn't feel centralized and made easy.
Yeah.
And I can go into further on that. What I mean by that is there's nothing wrong, and that's what I think another problem people have, is everyone is, obviously decentralization is a good thing, but there's trade-offs in this world. You have to choose one or the other. And that's why I think DAOs are amazing. They're good for a lot of different avenues, and the best marriage of a DAO, in my opinion, is finance and DAOs.
Right.
I don't think they should be used for hiring and firing. I don't think they should be used for anything like that. I think that there has to be, in my opinion, some form of centralized entity steering some ship.
Right.
And some people hate to hear that, but I think that is the truth. And I'm not talking about for blockchain networks. Obviously, they run on their own, and they have, you know, Ethereum runs on its own network and has nodes, and we all understand that. But from a company's perspective, at our fund, we're looking to invest not just protocols and infrastructure, but companies that utilize the blockchain technology, basically, to disrupt industries.
Right.
Whether it's mass adoption, whether it's music, entertainment, whether it's whatever it is. That's basically what my thesis is that I've came up with. It has to be a disruptive for a certain industry, basically.
Right. Excellent. Any other things you want to kind of catch me up on before we wrap up our conversation?
I don't know. That was a good talk.
Yeah. Where should people go to look and find out more about Luxo's protocols that you talked about on stage?
So you guys can go to the Luxo white paper.
Okay.
The Luxo, you can also just go to luxo.com. You and I both know Marjorie, so I mean, Marjorie and Fabian are both on social media. They both have, Marjorie Hernandez to be exact, and then Fabian Vogelsteller. You can go to LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, but you can just look up Fabian Vogelsteller, and then he'll pop up on every Web3, article in the world, because he literally created Web3.
Yeah, that's right.
So
good. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back again with more like this very soon. Till then, have a happy day.